on 10 things to know about GrantStation. So what is it? For those of you who are new to GrantStation, it is a set of tools and resources that includes both U.S. and international funder databases to help your organization write and win more grant funding. And don't worry, I don't plan on reading all these slides to you. I just wanted to highlight that because a lot of people think GrantStation, what is this? Is this a place that writes grant proposals for me? Is this I just don't know what this is. So to make sure we're clear, it's a bunch of resources and databases where you can seek out funders. When is it happening? Today and tomorrow. So it started this morning at 9 a.m. Eastern time, ends at 5 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow. So that's 8 p.m. Eastern. You can get this one-year membership for $99. It's regularly $6.99 for the general retail public. Normally through TechSoup's discount program with GrantStation, it is $2.99. But for today and tomorrow, you can get it for $99. So it's a great deal. If you are looking to do more funder research and look for writing grant opportunities or just expanding your own skill set and capacity internally, they've got a lot of great resources. So which orgs can get it? Sorry. I think that came through anyway. I tried to cover my cough. I apologize. Which orgs can get it? 501c3 U.S. nonprofits and public libraries. Also, Canadian nonprofits can get it today and tomorrow, but it's through the TechSoup Canada website. So you don't want to request it through the U.S.-based website, which is TechSoup.org. You want to go to TechSoupCanada.ca. For libraries, it is only available for you to use for your own grant writing purposes. These are not, this membership is not for your public-facing, public access computers for the general public to use. So keep that in mind. If you're brand new to TechSoup, you can register today or tomorrow. As long as you complete your registration within 9 days of the promotion, you can access this special offer as well. So even if you haven't started with TechSoup yet, you can get it as long as you do it within 9 days. And if you are brand new as a C3 and you need seed funding and startup funding, you can access this as well. And they have a whole section that you can use to narrow your research to just look for funders that support startup funds. And if you're an existing member, you can use this to renew your membership, and it extends it based on whatever date your membership is active. So, if you have your membership from September, it would give you an additional year tacked on to September. So what's inside? We'll go through some of this in detail, but I wanted to just bullet out some of the things you can find inside of your GrantStation membership. Again, US and international databases of grant makers, lots of grant strategy resources, winning grant proposal samples, and letters of interest, or LOIs, as we call them internally here, or in the grant writing world. Strategic calendars, and lots of resources on grant trends. What kinds of grants are being won? What kinds of funding is being approved? What kinds of new collaborations are funders looking for? You can learn a lot about what's out there. This is just a look at what their website looks like, and we will show this live in just in a couple of minutes. But I just wanted to highlight on the screen, they have whole section. You can see in that drop down how deep that is, that you've got US charitable, US federal, US state and government, Canadian charitable, international charitable. That's just in how to find grant makers. And each of those sections is just as rich and deep as that find grant maker section. So if you're needing to learn how to develop your grant seeking strategy or how to write proposals, this is a really great resource for you to check out. What kind of funders will you find? I think one of the most important things about fundraising and grant writing in general, when you're looking to find grant funds, is that you don't want to find 50,000 funders. You want to find the 3, maybe, that are going to be the right ones for your organization's needs. You want to find the ones that are active, not ones that maybe gave funds to something that's related to your cause 5 years ago. You want to know which ones are doing it now. So keep that in mind, that these are pre-screened, vetted, and active now. They're current funders. And then we also have these U.S. federal state-funded agencies and state departments in there. You've got the full U.S. charitable giving database that includes all of your private foundations, family, community foundations, corporate giving programs, faith-based grant makers, associations that may have grant-making programs, international database. That's for folks who are working outside the U.S. and again, that Canadian database. Now, if you're joining us from outside the U.S. today and you're not from Canada, keep in mind that the only organizations that can request the GrantStation membership today and tomorrow are U.S. or Canadian. So if you're joining us from Kenya or if you're joining us from the Philippines or wherever else, GrantStation is really targeting organizations who are based in the U.S. or Canada. And those international funding databases are for organizations that may be based here, but may have work, they may have operations in El Salvador, or they may have programs in Kenya, but they aren't based in those countries. So I hope that clarifies a little bit of what kind of funder you'll be able to find in GrantStation's databases. And I just show here a screenshot of how you can search, and we'll show this in real time in just a moment, but that you can see that there are 80 results that popped up when they searched by scope, US and Oregon. So they searched by different geographic regions. They searched by area of interest, music, and they searched national grant maker database. So you can narrow this scope to find as many or as few as you think is worthwhile. But again, you don't want to be wasting your energy writing grant proposals that are really written for the wrong funder. If it's not a good fit for them, they're not going to give you the funds. So your best result is not going to give you probably 80 results. It's going to give you 8 maybe, or 15. And then you're going to further narrow that to find the ones that are really worth your investment of time and energy so that you're getting the bang for your buck and hopefully winning those grant proposals. So number 6 on this list, can I find grant strategy and tips? Well, big yes with a money sign, because of course that's what we're hoping, that you'll be able to find all of the strategy, resources, and tips to help you win that money that you need to further run your programs and complete your missions and achieve your missions. And they do that in a variety of different channels and methods on their site. They have a weekly GrantStation Insider newsletter that highlights 10 interesting grant opportunities nationwide each week that comes into your inbox. So you don't even actually have to go and do a search. You can have it come into your inbox. But hey, there are these 10 interesting things, and 1 or 2 of those might be the perfect fit for your organization each week. They also have a monthly GrantStation International Insider newsletter. So again, for those of you who maybe are based in the US or Canada and have programs overseas, where they're going to be highlighting, I think it's 12 that they highlight each month, interesting international grant maker opportunities. They also have a huge section called Build Strategy, where you can find a grant seeking calendar. You can find things like a decision matrix. You can find project planning worksheets, resources that you can use to help define what are your project goals, what are the resources you truly need to accomplish those goals, what kind of funding and other materials or staffing or computers or whatever it might be do you really need to accomplish that, and in what time frame, and to really figure out what are the right funders that match you in helping you fulfill that mission. So that section is really deep and rich, and I would recommend that people check it out. And also the monthly and weekly newsletters, you can sign up for those whether or not you're a GrantStation member. So I would recommend, whether you plan to proceed with getting a membership or not right now, that you check out those newsletters, because there's a lot of really interesting stuff that comes out in those. And then the last bullet on here talks about some of their other resources, like their Talk 2020 podcast. It's something you can listen to while you're commuting. And it's really these people who are true experts in grant writing, who've been doing it for 40, 50 years, and who really not just have done it as an individual, but have helped others do it, have helped organizations develop their strategies around fundraising and grant writing. And listening to them talk about what's successful, what works, what kind of partnerships are kind of in right now when it comes to seeking collaborative grants. GS Insights and the State of Grant Seeking Report are also highlighted here. And the State of Grant Seeking Report, we always highlight on the TechSoup blog as well, because it's such a great resource, because from a high level, they're able to see, based on the thousands of organizations that are using their databases and based on the results of those grants that are written, they're able to really see and evaluate what kind of grants are getting won. How long are they? When are those grant awards delivered? How long does it take once you've written it to hear back? Like, they've got this great resource that they put out so that you can learn really the ins and outs of what to expect, especially if you're newer to grant writing. So these are just some great resources on strategy and tips that I would recommend checking out. Number 7, do they write grants for me? And I put this as a big no, because we want to make sure that people know what they're getting for their $99. You're not getting a grant writing team that's going to come to your office and sit down and say, well, what do you need money for? And let me write it for you. They have lots of resources to help you learn how to assemble a great grant seeking team or a grant writing team, but they are not actually going to do it for you. That really takes the hard work and thought and pre-planning from your own team, whether that's your executives or your board, or if you have a development team, or maybe you're a party of one and you have to do it all, but they will help you by providing you this rich write proposals section of their site that has sample grant proposals, templates, and samples of letters of inquiry. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And the letters of inquiry, that's if you aren't ready to write a full proposal, but you think this one funder seems like a really great match, you can send a letter of inquiry using their template or looking at their samples to say, this is the kind of work we're doing. Are you okay with us submitting a grant proposal, even if maybe we aren't in the time frame that you had listed on your website? They've done all of the research for you in their database so that you know what the time frames are when they're accepting grants, or if it's a rolling time frame, or if they're accepting them all the time. So they're there to provide those resources for you on how to get started, including things like checklists, like what are the actual financial documents you need to have on hand, what are the program details you need to have on hand, the staffing requirements, who's going to be leading things. They can give you all those checklists so that before you sit down to start writing, whether it's you or whether it's a team, that you've got what you need before you begin. And then this is kind of their magic sauce of how to find the right funders. And I've listed this out. I know it's a wordy slide, but I've detailed it out because this is really what they recommend as, a very loose strategy. I'll say, mine is the shorthand version of, when you're pre-planning, that you really sit down with their project description worksheet, which is a downloadable Word document that you can use for your own projects, to fill that out and really define, what is this project? What are the goals? What are the outcomes? How are we going to evaluate it? How are we going to measure it? What are the keywords and search terms that we need in order to really find the right fit, whether it's, a local bank that might support our work, or whether it's an international grant maker, or whether it's the federal government. What are those things? So they talk about this in their process, that you've got these pre-planning steps, and then you start your searching. And you always want to start the search looking at the federal and state databases, because even if you don't find anything, you can say to those other private foundations, I did my due diligence and I searched, and there's not a state funded thing, or there's not a federal funded thing that's specific to my region or my goals or my project. So now we're coming to you, corporate funder or private funder or family foundation. So you go through and you search, and you can search as much as you want over the course of that year of your membership. You can search every day if you want to. And you really do want to use different keywords and use different search terminology, because you may find that, if you're searching for, animal care, that it will come up with different responses than if you search for animal rescue. Or, I have a friend who works in women's health. And she said if she searches for reproductive health, she gets very different results than if she searches for like breast cancer or abortion. Like those terms, you may find nothing with some of them, and you may find a lot with others. So just be conscientious in your pre-planning how you search. Then you can search through those databases, and you can narrow it so that you aren't getting a list of 80, because you're not going to find 80 funders in a year that are going to be the perfect fit for your specific project. You may find 5 or 7, or you might want to apply for 12 or 18. But you want to narrow it by geography, the areas of interest. What type of support are you looking for? Are you looking for program support? Are you looking for general or administrative support? Are you looking for seed funding? Those are all options that you can use in their search. And you can also search by target population. So you can say, I work with children or youth, or I'm working within, Hispanic communities, or I'm working in low-income housing communities. Then you can use that strategy section that they have and tools like their decision matrix to really score those funders that you've gotten results on. Like, okay, these are the ones that popped up. Now let's see, what is the likelihood that this would be successful if I spend my time writing a grant? And they have a whole little matrix that you can just plop those into pretty easily, and you can rank them so that you're spending your time, or your grant writer's time, or your board members or volunteers, whoever's actually doing it, so that they're spending that time on the top 4, not the top 18, or not starting with number 18 without realizing it, when they should be focused on 1, 2, and 3. So, and then you put pen to pad, or really fingers to keyboard, and start using those samples, checklists, and templates to write proposals and submit them. So where do you get GrantStation? For today and tomorrow, we recommend getting it through TechSoup directly. So you go to the TechSoup website, and I've just highlighted because it is on our home page right now, and you click on that Get GrantStation Now, and that will take you right to the product page where you can put it in your cart, request it, and have that donation fulfilled. Once you've gotten through the process, and if you're brand new, like I said, you have to finish your registration process within 9 days of the promo closing tomorrow. But if you're already a TechSoup member, this should be pretty painless. And then you want to look in your organization's email. So it's not going to be coming to Jenny at Youth of Tomorrow. It might come to info at Youth of Tomorrow, or whatever that email address is that your organization uses to receive donations through TechSoup. And you'll get a fulfillment email that tells you, here's where to start your membership, and here's what you need to log in and get started. And you can go ahead and just dive in. So if you're not ready today, or if you're too new, if you don't have 501(c) status yet, you are not eligible if you are not a C3 nonprofit or a public library. But I would recommend signing up to their newsletters and TechSoup newsletters so we can let you know the next time we offer this special. And it's also a great way to get resources and tips, because we have quite a bit of content on our site and across theirs. Obviously, it's all about grant writing, where you can learn and grow your own organizational capacity for grant writing. We usually have these special offers 3 times per year. It depends a little bit, and sometimes changes, but we usually have a spring one in the early fall, and one in the middle of winter, like January, February. So know that if you miss it this time, you can look for it in the future. And you can use those opportunities. If you decided to go ahead with the membership today or tomorrow, you can use those future promotional opportunities to renew, so that you're only ever paying $100 a year or $99 a year. So it's a great option, and a really deep resource to help you learn how to be the best grant writer, and your organization can hopefully win the best grants for your cause. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and show quickly, so I just have a couple of minutes. I wanted to go ahead and show, oops, here we go, sorry about that. Let me get over to GrantStation's website, and then I'll have Jim do his recap of the week. But you can see on the GrantStation website, you can click to find grant makers, and I'll go ahead and click into this and let it take me to finding them. A lot of the resources here, I'll just go into the U.S. Charitable quickly, but a lot of the resources that you see on their site are behind their firewall, essentially, that you have to be a member. So you have to log in or join to become a member. Now, you can, however, start a search and see what kind of results you get regardless of whether you're a member. You won't actually see the names of the funders, but you can see, like if I search that I want to look at national grant makers, and I could select the state too. I can scroll on down here and I can select areas of interest, for example, and I'll just pick health and wellness. And it lets me continue to drill down, and I'll say public health because I don't know why. I'm just going to select that. And it'll show me up at the top, oops, let me scroll back up here. Just in that initial search, looking at U.S. public health, national grant makers who give across all states, it's showing that there are 55 results in here. And so you can do that to just get an idea of what kind of funders or what volume of funders you'll find in GrantStation's databases. But again, look at, you've got U.S. charitable, U.S. federal, U.S. state government, Canadian charitable, Canadian government, international charitable, and search tips, which again, those search tips and thinking about keywords and search terminology is really important in helping make sure that you're finding the ones that best fit your org needs. All of these sections, building strategy, writing proposals, you know, you can get your full grant proposals and look at those. You can look at the award-winning proposals that others have submitted, and they have a contest every year where they invite people to submit proposals, and then their committee of experts selects the ones that they think are best. And these are ones that have already won grants. So, you know, you've got a lot of great resources to start with to really help you get off on the right foot, or to just grow your grant writing skills regardless of where you're at and what level you come into it from. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing, and I'm going to let Jim come on and take us away with some of the weekly roundup. So thank you, everybody. Back to you, Jim.
Okay, everybody. Nice to see you. Jim Lynch here, senior writer, TechSoup. I'm the guy who is in charge of getting all our content up on our website and our TechSoup for Libraries website as well. I'm going to screen share here and show you some of the new stuff. Here we go. All right. Is this coming in okay, Becky? All right, here.
Yeah, it's good.
Here's a great thing. This is actually from GrantStation itself. It's a brand new article that they sent to us for sending to you and getting to you. They publish twice a year a state of grant seeking report, which is a pretty great thing. As more and more organizations use GrantStation, they have more and more interesting insights in the big picture of grant making. And this is a sort of a summary of the grant seeking report. And some cool things that I like in here are what your chances are if you apply for 2 grants, what are your chances of winning something if you do 5 grant proposals, and so on. So they've calculated all that stuff in so you can see what the odds are. In addition to that, I like their section down here at the bottom on collaborative approach to grant making. That's when a bunch of or multiple organizations get together and they submit a proposal. The jury's a little bit out on how effective those are, but it's something that foundations tend to like and charities tend to find really difficult. So anyway, this is a very, very good article. I recommend that. Let me show you what else we have. Also in the area of fundraising, we have this terrific, I would call him our columnist on fundraising. His name is Michael Stein. This is his latest, 7 practices to engage and retain donors. Donor retention is an incredibly important and difficult part of fundraising. Over half of donors go away every year, and that's just kind of the nature of the beast. Michael gives you some tips on what you can do to improve those odds. And this is in and about individual donors, by the way. What else do we have? There we go. We have a brand new program called the TechSoup Ambassador Program, where we're asking really engaged people in our TechSoup community to help us make TechSoup much, much better. So if you would like to be more involved with TechSoup, you'd like to be in the mix with us like crazy, we'd love to have you. This explains how you can do that. Wonderful new program from TechSoup. Lastly, 20 Days of Adobe. I feature this page quite a bit. And by the way, we'll get you all these links that I'm showing you. 20 Days of Adobe is now incredibly rich with all kinds of free things in terms of training and information and how to do things with any kind of, and all kinds of different Adobe products. So there we go. That's our roundup. Back to you, Becky.
Thanks, Jim. Well, that is it for this week. Thank you all for joining us for this week's Tuesday TS Tech 30. We hope you'll join us again next week, where we will be talking about hidden gems of Adobe. Same time next Tuesday at 12:30 Pacific, 3:30 Eastern. We also have a whole spate of webinars coming up. If you want the full 60 minutes, we'll be talking about copywriting for the web this week, and next week we'll be talking about avoiding nonprofit tech burnout. So helping keep your energy up, even if you're drowning in email and technology. So we hope you'll join us for some of those. And while you're in there, feel free to check out some of our other TS Tech 30s and courses. Thanks so much, everyone, and have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.